Hey, romanticy and wine lovers. Quick question. What is better than getting lost in a swoon-worthy magical world? How about getting lost with a glass of the perfect wine? That's the entire idea behind Bookish Wine. They're a quarterly subscription box dedicated to the glorious genre of romanticy that we all love, and we are obsessed. Every 3 months, you get a beautiful special edition romanticy book and a custom crafted bottle of wine that is made and labeled to match the world and the theme of the featured book. They do the pairing, so all you have to do is sip, read, and escape into fantasy realms. Ready to upgrade your reading nights? Head over to www.bookishwine.com. That's BOOKISHWINE.com and use our code Narratives and Nightcaps at checkout to receive a signed copy of the December book and start reading, sipping, and subscribing today. Welcome to Narratives and Nightcaps, Books, Beverages, and Author Conversations. Today, I'm excited to welcome author Kate Hendrickson to the show. We're kicking off the holiday season chatting about her debut book, CHRISTMAS SWITCH, available November 4th. Hello, Kate. Welcome to the show.
Hi, thanks for having me.
I'm feeling so festive having read your book, and we're at the time of this recording, we are so close. And as most people know that have listened to this show, and all of my co-hosts know, like, I love Christmas. Love, 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 love Christmas. I do everything I can to like wait till November 1st to set up. So I'm so excited to be in the holiday spirit with you.
Oh, exactly. I'm the same way. I mean, November 1st, Christmas starts, right? I take a brief little week off for Thanksgiving and do all
Of
the
course.
turkey, pumpkin, pecan things. And then right the day after Thanksgiving, I'm like, all right, back to Christmas.
Exactly. Yep. I love to spread it out. Well, before we jump into all things holiday, all things Christmas Switch, what nightcap do you have for us today?
So I really wanted to do a favorite of mine, which was like prosecco with pomegranate, like pomegranate seeds, or like just little bit of pomegranate juice. Like I just want like a splash. Maybe like a sprig of rosemary in it for a little green. Like um, such a good like nice thing to sip on. I love a little bubbly. But right now, at the time we're recording, it's Wednesday at 10 a.m. So I am right now sipping on coffee, but I added a little peppermint mocha, and like that's my like Christmas jam. Like, and so November 1st is also typically my like jump into peppermint mocha phase, and so that's what I'm sipping on now.
Oh, that sounds so good. I look, we're the same. You are me, I am you for both of those because I love pomegranate and prosecco is just like the perfect bubbly drink for the
Yes.
holidays. It's so
Hmm.
good. And then peppermint mocha and coffee. Oh my goodness. I've been waiting. So I will say there's this local coffee shop near me and right now they have a caramel apple chai and it's delightful. It's wonderful. But they have the best peppermint mocha latte like I've ever had. And every year I'm just like waiting and waiting and waiting. And I always tell my husband that like normally their specialty drinks, I limit myself to one a week. But the
Right.
second it's peppermint season, I'm like, there's no limit.
Right.
There's no limit. I support them through the whole holiday season regularly.
Right, no rules. Like there are no rules. And that's my treat. Like if I hit a coffee shop, I also keep a little bit at home, right? Like I'm just like I love just adding a little bit myself even when I'm, sipping on coffee at home. It's perfect.
It is. It is. It's so cozy. Okay, well, let's get to know you a little bit more. I think you kind of, kicked it off there. Are you a coffee person or a tea person?
I'm coffee until about like 2 or 3 in the afternoon. And if I need like a little pick me up, I like a good hot tea.
Okay.
Yeah, I like a good hot tea sometimes too.
What about cocktail or mocktail?
I'm a cocktail girl.
You're in good company.
Yes. I mean, I'm not gonna put down a good mocktail. I mean, they make some delicious mocktails out there, but you typically find me with a cocktail.
For sure. And we kind of touched on a go-to for the holidays with the Prosecco. I mean, not totally cocktail, but okay, well, I guess on that note, is there a cocktail that you really like around the holiday season, not just bubbly?
I would say, yeah, this you're gonna think this is kind of crazy, but like maybe not. But I've really gotten into like bourbons and whiskeys in the last year or so, maybe about like 2 years in the last 2 years, like trying new ones and I find around the holidays, like there's some really cool like bourbon and whiskey like twists and twists to an old fashioned like some things that come out. So I don't have like a specific like recipe for one, but if I see it on a menu somewhere, I'm typically down to try it in the holidays, like some kind of bourbon infused whiskey something. Oh, when they make it like smoky and stuff, so good, right?
Oh, I would say that wasn't me for a very long time, and I'm kind of been venturing into that with you there. We have a restaurant near us. They make an amazing smoked old fashioned, which is never my go-to order anywhere. And then I was at another restaurant near me recently, and I got there way early and I was meeting some people and I sat down and she was like, I don't know if it's really your vibe, but we have a special pumpkin spice old fashioned right now. And I was
Ooh,
like, that sounds amazing. And so tried that and you're right. If there's like a specialty old fashioned or even like I love a whiskey sour, I'm
yes,
just like,
right.
yep.
Yep. And so, yeah, so typically on like a holiday menu, they'll have something kind of fun to try with like a bourbon whiskey influence. And then I have always been a red wine drinker. I mean for since I was legal. Like I just always enjoyed red wine. And I find though I don't recover from red wine as well as I used to, and the bourbon is not as I kind of bounce back a little bit easier. So I think that was part of the reason I switched over to the kind of a sipping on bourbon a little bit more. And then it's been really
Yeah,
fun to try new drinks and cocktails.
it does. Yeah. I do. I like to branch out, try something new, and I hear you on the wine.
Yeah.
And the unfortunate after effects sometimes just real bummer
Yes.
on that.
It really is.
What was the last book that you read for you?
So most of the books I read are for me, to be honest.
Okay.
Um,
I was gonna say, I know you have a family, so if, like little
yes,
ones too, sometimes when people are like, oh, well, I've only read this, and I'm like, fair. And we love recommendations for littles on the podcast too. But which book did you
yes.
read for you?
Well, in addition to my writing, I have another job in consulting, which is a whole nother topic. But people are like, "What professional books are you reading?" And I'm like, "Oh, I read for fun." So most of the time, it's for me for something. Um, I I'm trying to think what I just finished. I'm currently reading. Can we go that one?
Yeah,
Okay.
currently read.
I'm currently reading, it's called Love Behind the Lens. It's by
Okay.
another indie author. I love to support indie authors as much as I can. Her name's Gina Foster, and it's about I'm only about a fourth of the way through, so I can't tell you too much, but it's got the Blue Angels involved in it, and it's a romance. It's got a little spice, and I know we didn't really talk about this, but I live in the Pensacola area, and the Blue Angels are like our hometown like heroes. Like we love them here. So when I saw her book and I definitely wanted to support her, I was all in. So I'm reading that right now. And my audiobook of the moment is The Gone Before Goodbye, the new Reese Witherspoon book.
Yes.
So
Okay.
listening
Do
to that one, reading Love Behind the Lens.
love it. And what do you think of Reese's book so far?
I'm also only about a fourth of the way through that one, so it's still new. It took me a second because I was like, there's so many characters, like who's who and who's married to who and what country are they in right now? Like it took me a second to like kind of put pieces together, but now that I have and I know who's who, I'm really starting to kind of get into the storyline. So I'm excited to see where it goes.
Okay, I'm adding both to my TBR for sure
Okay.
as soon as we're done. Okay, let's talk holidays. Real tree or artificial?
I know I'm probably not the most popular answer, but artificial.
Oh, no, I'm right there with you, so you're good.
Okay. We've done a couple of real trees over the years. Like the kids have asked, like, can we get a real tree this year? We've done it a couple of times. Um, but it's just a mess. And we get to, with the artificial tree, we can put it up as early as we want, and we can leave it up as late as we want. And so, we typically do the artificial tree.
Yep, same here because I want that thing up November 1st. I mean, I grew up across the street from a Christmas tree farm and still grew up with artificial trees. So, but I loved how it looked, especially in the winter. Um, what is your favorite holiday movie?
Okay. This is really hard because there's some that are just nostalgic and traditional and like have a special place in my heart. So like for
Okay,
me,
go top three.
okay, good.
Yeah.
Thank you. I need a little, I need a buffer. So It's a Wonderful Life is my like, I have to watch it every single year. I need that feel good, like feeling of he, realizes how much he's, how wonderful his life is and how wonderful the people around him are. And while things, didn't always go the way he thought, it always came back to family and his community. And I just love It's a Wonderful Life. Typically what's happening is I'm wrapping presents, like locking myself in the bedroom, wrapping presents with my Prosecco and pomegranate seeds. And It's a Wonderful Life is on because I've seen it so many times that like I can be doing other things and just wrapping and whatever, and it makes me so happy. So that's my a very like common typical thing. And then my other two would be, gosh, narrowing these down. Okay, I'm gonna say Bad Moms Christmas is another one.
So good.
Is another one that like I can watch year after year and laugh every single time. Every single time.
It's
Like
so,
it never gets old. Never
I
gets
saw it
old.
in theaters. Like,
Yeah, right. Right? I mean, I love the first Bad Mom. So then, I mean, when they made the Christmas version, I was all in. And so actually, my husband and I will like get snacks and like watch it together every year. That or Office Christmas Party or both. We'll do like a marathon of those two. Um, but we like set up our own little like date night on the couch and like binge both of those movies because they just like keep us laughing and make us happy and are so relatable. Well, I don't know about Office Christmas Party. That was not really relatable, but
Not
Bad
bad
Moms
about
Christmas a little bit. I guess my third would be I'm gonna oh I'm so torn. I'm gonna say Christmas Vacation again from the nostalgia of we like quotes. We have the sweatshirts and the shirts, and like my husband and I have the like, why is the carpet all wet, Todd's like matching sweatshirts, and we have like the moose mugs. Like we just that was his kind of family tradition. They always watched it together, so we've kept that on, and we watch it regularly, and
I mean, it's a great one. That's
it's a
another
great
one too
one.
that every time you watch it, you'll laugh, no
It's
matter how
funny.
many times you've seen it. It's so good. It's such a feel
Yeah.
good, cozy watch. So,
Yes, yes, totally. But I could name 20 Christmas movies that I love. So,
yes. I'm
um,
I'm right there with you. People are normally, although I have one in particular that like every time I say it, people are like, I never watched that. And I'm like, I know, I only own the bootleg version of it that my mom like had someone get for me way back when because it's I am absolutely in love with that Christmas movie. But and people are always like, I don't know what you're talking about.
wait,
So
what is it? What is it called?
it's called 3 Days.
Okay.
Um, it was like back in the, I don't know if it was actually, but ABC Family Prime when they had just like the best holiday movies, that original holiday movies that came out. 3 Days, I am obsessed with it. It has Kristen Davis, is that her name from
Yeah,
Sex and the City?
from Sex
Yeah.
and the City. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
She's in it. She's one of the main characters. It's not to like be a downer because it's kind of sad, but it's got a great message. But it is about this husband and wife at Christmas time, and this is not a spoiler. This happens within like the first 5 minutes of the movie. The wife is in like a tragic accident at the
Oh
beginning
no.
of the movie, and an angel comes to the husband and says like, um, I'll give you 3 days with her leading up to Christmas, but like the same thing is still gonna happen. But you get 3 days to like do whatever you want with her. Take her on a vacation, do anything. And so the husband, like, well, he spends those 3 days obviously like very much with her, but also trying to figure out how to stop this accident from happening. It is, I've just
Oh,
loved
I'm
that
writing
movie.
it down right
It's
now. Like that
it's
sounds
so good.
so good. Yeah.
It's it's such a good movie. It's definitely a bit of a tearjerker, forewarning. But I love it. It's just been a favorite of mine for so long. So
Yeah.
yeah.
I
Okay.
sometimes really like a good like I just need to get some like get a few tears out or like get like feel things. I just want to feel things
I
sometimes.
know.
So yeah, I'm all in. I'm watching it this year.
It's just a beautiful message. Yeah, you have to let me know.
Mhm.
Watch it. Let me know what you think.
Okay.
It could
Okay.
also be the nostalgia that I like personally have just from being so attached to it for so long. But yeah, let me know once you watch it. Okay. Do you have a favorite holiday food or recipe?
Ooh, I will say we have a tradition that on Christmas Eve I make tomato bisque, and it's like from scratch. It takes me like a couple hours in the morning, and so the morning of Christmas Eve I make it, and then it simmers for a few hours, and then by the time like early afternoon comes around, it's ready, and so and then I make a bunch of grilled cheese sandwiches, and it's just kind of like whenever anybody's hungry, you grab like a little cup or a little bowl and you eat some tomato bisque and everyone loves it. And it becomes like, I think one year I was like, I don't know if I'm going to make it this year. And like my whole family was like, yes, you are. You know? And so, I would say, I mean, like the rest of like most of the stuff we make are pretty traditional, but like that's something I feel like is specific to our family. And I make it from scratch and I don't even need the recipe anymore, which is also great. And I mean, like it slightly changes over, each year, but only because I'm going off of memory. Um, but it is, I would say that would be like my favorite, like holiday traditional thing that I make, that everybody in our house enjoys.
Oh, I love that. That sounds so good right now. I don't know if it's because it's really cloudy out too. I'm just like, man, a nice like bowl of soup and grilled cheese sounds
Yeah.
perfect. And that's such a
Yeah.
good Christmas Eve meal too. Okay, on that note, do you, maybe not food related, what is your favorite holiday tradition that you have?
So I'm going to tell a brief little story. So, about, let me think, my oldest is 13. He was, I want to say, about 3 or 4, and we took him to church on Christmas Eve, and we're all sitting in the service, and the minister is, giving us a sermon. And I honestly don't even remember what the minister said, but my son yells out, Jesus is dead. And did he get shot? And I mean, like the entire church is quiet, and it's Christmas Eve mass, so it's packed. Like people are like standing along the walls, and everybody laughs, like, and so the tradition is that when we got out of church, we had a conversation about why we celebrate Christmas, and it kind of explained it all to him. And he said, "Well, if it's Jesus's birthday, then why don't we have birthday cake?" And so we made took a box mix that night. We took a box mix the next morning and we made Jesus a birthday cake and we put a candle in it and we had sprinkles and it was like it looked like a birthday cake, like nothing holiday related. It looked like a birthday cake. And we sang, I mean, he was 3, so we sang happy birthday to
Of
Jesus at the
course.
time. And so every year now we make Jesus a birthday cake as part of our like Christmas dinner meal, like a part of our dessert. But now that he's 13, he makes it himself. Like he doesn't need our help. So he just, like grabs a box of cake mix and he makes the Jesus cake. And it's kind of become his like little tradition. That would be super fun if he continues with his family as he gets older. But that's one of my favorites because there's a fun story behind it. And it's something we've continued year over year.
That's so sweet. I think some of the best traditions like come from a personal story like that. So, oh, I love it. That's
Yeah.
amazing. Okay, let's get into it because I feel like I could talk to you. I could just be like, okay, tell me this. What do you like about this? What's your favorite here? But I want to talk to you about Christmas Switch, obviously. So,
Okay.
first things first, can you tell listeners and soon to be readers what Christmas Switch is about?
Absolutely. I've had such a blast like talking about it and telling people about it. These characters have been mine for about 3 years. So now I'm like giving them to the world. So it's about a husband and wife, Allie and Tommy, who are like around, it's like Thanksgiving weekend. So they had just come off of Thanksgiving. Allie's starting to think about Christmas and all she has to do over the next month to get prepared for Christmas. So, the lists are coming out. She's stressing a little bit. She's giving Tommy things to do. And Tommy's like, relax. Like, it's still Thanksgiving weekend. Like, we are like, give it a second. And she's like, I can't give it a second. There's too much to do. So they get in a little tiff, which, I mean, probably relatable.
Of
um,
course. Yeah, we all
so
do.
we all do. And so they make like a handshake deal to say, I'm going to do your Christmas like to-do list and you're going to do mine. And so Allie has to climb up on the roof and deal with lights. And Tommy has to plan a Christmas party at the elementary school and cover the shopping for gifts. And so it is definitely puts them both out of their comfort zone. And funny things happen and heartfelt things happen along the way. I mean, I definitely, as I'm sharing this with people, I'm like, it's like something you would see in a Hallmark movie, right? Like it's just like
Exactly.
that light, like I'm like I say rom-com, but like rom-coms are typically like not people who are already married, right? It's typically like, like people are finding love, people are like having second chances, people are like, those kinds of things. But I still like call it a little bit of a rom com because I feel like they kind of find themselves again, like find their balance again. Yeah, so that's what it's about, and it's out now, really, because
I
well,
mean,
by the time this comes out, it's like, yeah, it's
attention.
out,
Yeah, so we can talk about it like it is. Like everybody can go
right?
get it, jump right into it is. It's like a Hallmark movie. Maybe it could be one day because
Yeah.
that's immediately what I thought as I was like, oh, I could so easily see myself sitting down not only to read this, but to watch this and to relate to it. I don't know.
Right.
I tip my hat to Allie for like being so willing to make to make that agreement because I love my husband, but I also am a bit of a control freak. And so I would be like, no, 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 no. But what first inspired this story? So take us back 3+ years. What was the inspiration?
Sure. So I had a medical procedure about 3 years ago, and it put me on sick leave for 6 weeks, right around the holidays. And so I was stuck on a couch for 6 weeks. And once I was like feeling good, but I couldn't really move or go anywhere or do much, I went to my trusty comfort of writing. I mean, I've always written. So I started this book, and to be honest, the story just kind of came to me. Everybody keeps asking, like, is it based on like real life? Is it something you and your husband have done? And I'm like you, I'm like, I could never do that. It's not, it's definitely not. There's a little bit of like me and Allie and me. Like I am a little bit, I'm type A. I have my lists and my plans and my traditions and things that need to get done. I will say something that's separate for me is I'm pretty, I can adapt to change really well. So if like something, we have plans and like we're going to do something and then something shakes that up, I can kind of roll with the punches and like, let's course correct, like, let's figure it out. Let's do something,
For sure.
whatever that is. So, I think that's a little bit harder for Allie to do. So I created Allie a little bit thinking about kind of aspects of myself, but then as became her own character and personality, it morphed and she wasn't really as much me. And then as I went back and edited, I kind of changed her a little bit. So she still was like less of me. But I'm gonna be honest. I mean, when I was like on the couch, I just like just kind of started coming to me and this idea started coming to me and I thought, I don't feel like I've seen this before. Like I've seen the sister switch where like I've seen
Yes.
where like twin sisters switch place and like pretend to be the other one. We've seen the Christmas movie The Holiday where they like switch houses
One of my
and
favorites.
right, so good, so good. We've seen like the magical switch, like a Freaky Friday, and the what's that newest one by Netflix, The Family Switch, where like all the family members, I don't know if you've seen that one, but
Wait, I was
all
gonna
the
say, what
family
is this
members
one?
switch places, like the baby's the dog and the like mom's the daughter and the dad's the like something like crazy happens and
That's
like they all
chaos.
switch bodies or whatever. So we've seen like the magical switch, we've seen like the other relationships with, but I mean it's probably out there somewhere, but I just hadn't seen the like husband and wife like just swap. And it's not a secret. Like a lot of times you see these stories and it's a secret. Like they're
Oh
keeping
yeah,
it a
like
secret and
no
not
one can
telling
know
people.
that this has
This
happened.
is
Yeah.
like we're bringing everybody in. Like we're bringing the family in and they all know about it. The coworkers that know about it. Everybody's talking about this like switch that they did, this deal they made with each other. Um so I really just started like rolling with this storyline. And then I went back to work and I was off the couch. And so I was probably like 4 or 5 chapters into it, and went back to work. And then about a year and a half ago, decided to pick it back up again. And so I decided to start writing again. And I explored a different story. And then I kept being drawn back to Tommy and Allie. And I was like, I just want to finish that story. So I kept working on that one and got more and more involved in the story and the characters and connected to them. So I finished writing it just about a year ago. And so the last year has been the publishing process.
Which we'll have to get into that because I'm so curious about all of that. Did you ever face just any like creative roadblocks then? And I guess if you did, how did you work through them? Was there ever a moment that you didn't know like where to go in the story?
I will say once like, so about this time year, about this time last year, I'm gonna get it out. I finished it. Like I had written the last sentence and I was like the end, right? And any writer knows the first draft is not the end of anything. And so I actually at that point, I walked away from it for like 2 weeks. Like I just like shut my computer and was like, I'm not going to look at it for a couple of weeks. I'm going to like let myself separate from it for a second. But during that time, I sent it to, two people. I sent it to my mom, who she was a teacher and she was an English teacher. And my whole life, she has proofread my essays and my articles and my, all the things that I write. So she's not afraid to be blunt and honest. Like she would tell me like, yeah, this isn't very good. Or like, hey, this part didn't connect with me. Or like, she's not going to just be like, it was great because I'm her daughter. So I sent it to her and then I sent it to, I have a book coach that I work with. So I sent it to Anne, who was my book coach. Shout out to her. And she read the very first draft also, who was also someone that I felt like she would be like, ugh, you know what? This really needs a lot of work. Maybe, she would maybe consider doing this different or that. Like she would just be honest because her and I have had this coaching relationship for the last year. So they read it and we all kind of came to the same conclusion that it needed a little bit more like a little bit more drama, like a little bit more something, like a couple of things that happened that take you by surprise or make you go, ooh, what's going to happen next? And everybody was like, it's well written. It's a very sweet story. And it's a very like, I love the concept and the what you're trying to get across. But it needs just a little bit more action or like something, like a couple more scenes like, so then I went back to the drawing board to figure out what that was. So my husband and I, like we were brainstorming. So he kept hearing what this book's about because he's been seeing me write. And when you write a book, the whole family's involved, because, like it's late nights and long hours and you're doing it like when kids are
Your
asleep or
acknowledgments
whatever,
were
right?
so sweet.
Yes.
Were
And
so sweet.
so he hadn't read it, but I was just bouncing ideas off of him and then bouncing off ideas off my mom and off of Anne. I was like, what I could potentially, so I mean, there was a lot of brainstorming at that point where I was like, not really sure what I needed to add, but I knew I needed to add something and I was feeling kind of stumped on that. So really, I think it was kind of like reaching out to people that I trust that will be honest to help me talk through some like these a couple barriers that I was facing. So long story short, that's my answer to how I got through like that little kind of like hump I felt like creatively right in the
No, I
beginning.
mean, I think that that's especially for aspiring writers to understand that too, because like you said, all writers know, but I don't know that everyone else knows. Like your first draft is never, that's never the end.
No.
That's not, it feels really good and it's a great moment to get to, but then yeah, the going back, I I mean, I love though that your mom from the get-go that you had someone in your life that you could turn to for that, who isn't just because she's your mom going to be like, "Oh, it's great. I love it," but can really analyze it and give you some constructive feedback, which is also so important for writers because you have to be able to take a lot of no's and a lot of criticism and constructive feedback when it comes to writing. So, I think that that's amazing that you have someone in your life who kind of like sets you up for that in the most helpful way.
Right, right. And I think she's also receptive. Like it can be it's a really good conversation because she'll be like, I didn't, like, why did this happen? Or, and I'm like, well, this happened because of this. And so she's like, oh, I didn't get that. So maybe like need to clarify that. Like it's just like a really nice relationship to bounce that stuff back and forth. So
That's
yeah, it's
awesome.
great.
Okay, so now today, final draft going out there. Without spoiling too much, what is your favorite scene or moment that you really think captures the spirit of the story?
I'm not sure if it captures the spirit of the story, but I'll tell you my favorite scene.
That works too.
So there's a scene where Allie finally just kind of lets loose and lets things go, and she has some fun with her friends. And I think that moment is like all of the stress and all of the anxiety because like while she was stressed and anxious at Thanksgiving when she had all of these things on her plate and her list was so long, when they made the deal and she had to switch and give the control to Tommy, it was just a whole different kind of anxiety, right? Of like not the unknown. Um and her type A controlling, wanting to like get in there and make things happen her way. So there's a moment where she just kind of lets loose and like has a good time. And she's not thinking about what's on her list and what's on Tommy's list and what he's completed and what she's got to do next. And she just has some fun with her friends. I will also say, without trying to spoil it, when you read that scene, it is also very inspired by a real life situation. So that was
Okay.
that's one of the moments that while I would say 90% of this is completely just out of my brain and my, something I created in a world I made up. There's about 10% of like things that like really maybe happened to me or reflective of something I've seen or done. And that's part of it is that scene. I it's so hard to not give things away.
Can you feel?
Um, I will say I went to a situation like that, but it was with my parents. So when you read that, you'll know. It is, but that's a very fun scene that I like. If it turned into a Hallmark movie, I'd love to like see it happen.
You're like that scene can't be cut.
Right,
It's
that
so
scene's staying. Yeah.
it's so important for the whole thing. What was I going to say? Oh, I guess how, like, what do you hope readers' emotions, feelings, or what is the ultimate message that you hope they walk away with once they turn that final page?
Yeah. A couple of things. One, I would say I think just appreciation for the people around you. I think sometimes it's really easy to forget how much, your spouse helps out or like, the role he plays or she plays. And then same with like your kids or your neighbors or your parents, like right, whatever your support system looks like. Sometimes you get so wrapped up in the moment and what you're doing and what you have to do, especially as moms who I mean, our brains are like a constant of like what's next, what's on the calendar, like do our kids have like clothes that fit? Do we have, like, what are we having for dinner? Like, our minds are like a constant spinning hamster wheel. So it's easy to forget, all the people who are helping around you. And it's not a contest, like, right? Like, it's not I did, these 20 things and you did these five, I'm winning, right? It's not a contest. You're a team with those people that, you surround yourself with. And so just being grateful and appreciative and of the people around you, a little bit. I hope, if there are some moms who are really a lot like Allie, that they, take a step back this season and, relax a little bit. And then I guess the final thing I would say, like, when you turn the last page and you close the book, I hope you just come out of it like feeling, if you didn't learn anything at all, just feeling like happy and in the Christmas spirit. Like, that is truly why I wrote this, is to like bring happiness and joy and like during the holidays. And I think that would make me so happy if that's like the end result.
And that's, I mean, I love it. And I always love, and this is just me, like, I love analyzing the message. But I do think that, especially this time of year, and if you've had a really hectic year and a crazy year, which I know I have, I know that a lot of people in this world have had too, like, it's totally okay to read just a feel good book, and just for that, just to feel good and to feel cozy and to have something lighthearted to turn to during these last couple months of the year. So I get that. But I don't have kids, but I see myself in Allie a lot. So I get that aspect too. And I do think it is like, it's an important reminder because it's really easy for all of us to get sucked into the to-do lists and the gifts and everything else when there's so much more meaning behind the season. And like, just I would say these last couple months of the year, whether or not you celebrate Christmas too, like, there's just so much more. And it is about the people. I know my husband and I last year, like, we just had kind of an interesting couple of years. And so last Christmas, against my total type A person who loves traditions, who loves doing certain things at the holidays, we were like, what if we go to Canada? And what if
Ooh,
we spend Christmas in Canada? And we're like, no gifts. Obviously, there's no tree in our hotel. And we're like, what if we do that? And what if we just spend the holidays up there? And so that's what we did. Like, totally, it was so out of character for me, someone who loves Christmas, who loves a
yeah.
tradition, all of that. But it was just like, well, we need to focus on the two of us and spending time with the two of us, which so I saw that. I know that's a little bit harder when you're Allie and you throw kids into the mix. It's a little bit easier for my husband and I to be like, you know
Right.
what? Or let's just pick up and go somewhere else. But
But that doesn't mean you can't focus on like relationships versus like the gifts and the, things. I mean, gifts are fun and I think that's part of the whole thing, but it isn't the whole thing. And
exactly.
I think like I love when like I have experiences, like when gifts are experiences, because I love that connection and relationship with people. So I think, I mean, that would be awesome if people got that out of the book too, is like, let me lean into my relationships and spending time with the people that I love during the holiday season and make that a main focus.
Absolutely. Okay, I want to talk about your publishing journey. You chose to self-publish, which
Did.
is amazing. And there's like, I have so much respect for everything that you've done so far and continue to do. What led you to that decision?
Sure. So, considering the book was already 3 years in the making, I was anxious, which is, I mean, I think feel like any author is anxious to like get to the next step and do the next thing and get it out there. But I started querying agents probably, I think Anne's recommendation to me was like right around after Thanksgiving. She was like, I know we're still like working on drafts, which is I know typically kind of a no-no, like it needs to be final, but she was like, I think it's polished enough that, and your, first 10 pages are polished enough that like you can query because it's the holiday season. And if they want to, like they're more agents are like they're surrounded by Christmas. So if they're reading Christmas, it might be easier for them to lean into your book versus them seeing your query in like March, right? And so she was like, just take advantage of the season that we're in and go ahead and start querying. So I did. And I spent all of December like querying agents and um, going back and forth. And then January came around and I heard back from a couple of people after the holidays, which was awesome and like such a win to be like, I want to see your full manuscript. I want to have a conversation. Like so much fun. And so I had I had conversations with two agents and we had some back and forth. But basically they both gave me the reality of what that timeline could potentially look like. Right. And so like if they took me on and looked for a publisher, right? So then they have to find a publisher for the book
Sure.
with their connections and
Yep.
with what who they know and what they do. And then we were kind of a little bit on the publisher's timeline, but they're like, you're probably well, hold on. So you're looking at like 2-ish plus years, right? To get this out there and published because I also have a Christmas book. So I don't have the whole year to just like any time of year we can put it out there. So if it's ready in a year and a half, it's like then it's like June. Like it's not. So I have such a small window to release it. So it was like, sure, like, it could be like a 2 to 3 year process by the time we sign our contracts, publishers, their timeline,
Sure.
right? All the steps and things that need to happen. And I was like,
Yeah.
I don't want to wait 2 or 3 years. So then had another conversation with Anne and we just like proed and con all the things, right? Like I could do it myself. I could maybe try to do a hybrid situation. I could just let the agent do it and start writing something else, like in the meantime, like while I wait. And ultimately decided this is probably like early March that I want it out this Christmas. Like I'm ready to like get this story out there this Christmas. And the only way to do that is if I'm on my own timeline. And so that's ultimately why I made the choice to do it myself. I also have so many other ideas that I'm like ready to like write and do that. I'm like while I love Allie and Tommy, like they need to belong to other people now. And I'm ready to like move on to some new fun ideas.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I could totally get that where you're like, okay, I want to get this out in the world so I can keep going, keep moving on to the next one too. That makes a lot of sense. Um, what were some of the biggest surprises then? So you made that decision in March. What have been some of the biggest surprises or challenges that you've encountered? I know we're reaching, I don't want to say the finish line because I never look at like that release day as the finish line, but we are
Yeah.
reaching this huge moment. So what has been surprising over the past few months?
So I will say a couple of things. I keep saying that every time you ask me a question. I'm like, well, a couple of things. So I enjoyed the editing process way more than I expected. I was kind of like, I thought, oh man, like this is going to kind of be a drag, right? Like we're looking at grammar. We're like changing things that I've already thought was solidified and then I'm changing it again and then like I had beta readers and I got their opinion and then I had professional editing and I got their opinion and then I had my own opinion of like what's happening. And I've read it now. I've read it so
You're like,
many
I've read
times in the
this
last year. I know this,
thousand
yeah.
plus times.
And so when it was all kind of said and done, it was like, these are the final words. Like, this is it. I like reflected back on the whole process, like starting with the first draft that went to my mom and Anne to like I got a few beta readers. So after their feedback and brainstorming with my husband and adding some things, I quickly got the second draft like ready. Like it was a very quick turnaround because I wanted to reach out to some beta readers during the Christmas season. Like I wanted
So
them
smart.
to be in the
Yeah.
spirit. I also did not want to ask beta readers to read in February when they're like, I'm over Christmas at this point. So,
I was gonna say, I
uh,
think I did an arc one year and I read it in like July.
right. Yeah. Like it's just, there's a window that I needed to lean into. So I had a few beta readers read it in December. And so then of course I got their feedback. And once I made the decision to self-publish, I really like jumped into like taking everybody's feedback and making changes and making edits. And I did the where it's like you can listen to it through Word. Like, it's like read aloud.
Oh,
They have
I've
the
done
read
that
aloud
before. Yeah.
option, right?
Hmm.
And so then I listened to the words, like not just read the words, but then I listened to the words, and made changes as I was like listening to the way it came out. Or I find things that I say like over and over, like phrases and terms and things that I'm like, oh, I use that a lot.
Those
Let
crutch
me like
words and
shift and adjust.
phrases.
But it was when I was listening to it is when I found those things. And then I got to the point where I was like hiring a professional editor, and I was super excited to get their feedback because this is my first like book, and I was like, oh gosh, is it going to be garbage? Like, is it going to be like, are they going to like, is it going to be like redlined everywhere and like I'm starting all over again? And the editor my editor was Bryn Donovan. She is awesome, and she's an expert in this genre of books, and she's written her own books in this genre. She's worked in written stories for Hallmark. Like, she's so good. And so her and I worked very well together, and it was nice that like she was really good at like also pointing out like the positives. Like, she'd be like, I love this dialogue, or like, I love this was a great twist, or whatever it was, right? And so while she did have some great feedback, she also had some really positive comments that kept me going and kept me motivated. And so after her edits came back, I changed and adapted and adjusted
Of
again.
course.
And then we did an RV trip as a family in June, and I was just like in the RV for like 10 or 12 hours or something at a time. And so I just like re-listened to it again. And that was like my kind of like my final, like, are these the right words? Is there anything that is really like bugging me? Like, after all the revisions, or like something that got pulled out at one point that I was like, oh, I feel like that's missing. Like, right. Like, I just listened to it in June, made the final tweaks and changes. And then right before I sent it to my designer to design the interior and was like, this is it. I stayed up like all night one night and like physically read the Word document one more time. Like, I was like, I mean, I don't think I made any changes. Like, maybe like minor word here or there or something. But like, it was like, okay, I feel good that like I read it one final time and like barely changed a thing, if anything at all. And so I was like, all right, that was my sign that I was like, okay, it's going to print. Like, I'm done. So I sent it to my interior designer at that point. But even then, when she sent me the proof back, she was like, if you see something that looks like off or changed or whatever, there was a couple of just like more grammatical things that I've like popped out when it was like in the format of a book. Like, it looked like a book finally, like it looked like a book pages. I even sent her a couple of like tweaks and changes. So, I mean, like, really to get to this end result. But looking back, I'm like, I actually kind of loved how it evolved. Like, I love the whole process of the back and forth and to figuring it out and to making it. Like, I can't imagine publishing that very first draft that Anne and my mom read. Like, now that it's all said and done, like, no way. So that has been a big surprise. That I enjoyed that process as much as I did was a big surprise. And I will say the part that I'm not enjoying as much is the like trying to keep up with social media to like get it out there. I am terrible about that. Like, please follow me because I need help. I like will post something and then like a week later I'm like, oh shoot, I should probably post something else. Like, I am like, it's just and I second guess when I'm posting, and I'm like, I'm really trying, but I'm on Instagram and a Facebook and a TikTok, and like keeping up with all the things is not my favorite thing, but I'm doing it. But I'm loving, like, if I could just market by doing podcasts and like interviews and like talking to people, I would do this every day. This is my like jam right here.
I would say as someone who also hasn't written a book, but totally relates to our conversation and putting that out, I'll do it all day long. All day long. The other aspects of our podcast, and I won't say, like, there are some things that I do, like, I still love about it, but it's a tough world out there once you look at everything especially with social media, and I get it's a crucial part of what we do. And as someone whose job also includes social media for a lot of different brands and organizations, like, it's it's rough. It can be really rough out there, and it can be really hard on your mental health. Um, but I always just come back to like certain things, especially when I feel that too, where I'm like, oh my gosh, we haven't posted, we need to do this, or oh, this doesn't feel like me. I just, as hard as it is, sometimes I'm like, I'm just gonna show up as we are. And if that works for one person, then that's okay. I was talking with another author last week, I think, and I don't remember how we got on the topic. And I just said, I was like, I mean, the reminders for me are when, I get to meet a new author and they're like, "Oh my gosh, I loved this podcast. Like, thank you so much." All of that. Or a listener says, "Oh, I picked up that book because you guys talked about it and it was so interesting and I never would have known about that." So, it's like the little things are the good reminders to hold on to because social media is it's a mess.
I know, I know. I'm like, I hope that other people who are much better at it will post about my book a little bit and I can just reshare. I'm like, I'll reshare your post all day long. Like
Collab
you,
with me.
right? Like if it's like you're currently reading and you want to hold it up, I'm sharing it everywhere. Like I am like, I'm down to like share all your things because I am not, but yeah, that's not my strong suit. But I'm gonna keep trucking along. I'm gonna keep doing
That's
it. So
that's all we can do. That's all we can do. Yeah, I think that is always that can be a big surprise for a lot of people. They're just like not even a surprise because I think there's a part of you that knows it's coming, but then you get to
Mhm.
it and you're like, "Oh, now I have to talk about this book and put it out there in the social media digital marketing space." And
Right.
there's definitely a lot to it. Well, we're happy to be one piece of that for sure.
Great. Perfect. I appreciate that. I think and finding your audience too, like finding it's not just like, hey, anybody who wants to like you. It is like who are the people who are like this is their genre and they love the Hallmark movies. Like it's not for everybody and that's totally fine. Um Rom-coms may not be for you or whatever. But fine. So then it's also like finding your people and finding your audience. That is tough, like really tough to do as well. So I feel like sometimes like my friends and family who I love and adore have been so supportive, but like they've liked all my things. And then I'm probably driving them crazy because I just keep posting about this book over and over and over again. um,
No,
but
I'm sure
uh,
they're so excited to support you. So yeah, that's I think it's amazing and it's a lot of work. It's not easy. So on that note, what would be your advice to aspiring authors and I mean especially people that are also interested in the self-publishing path because it's I love that you really laid out like there are multiple different journeys that you can go on and it's really figuring out which one works best for you. But with all that you've learned, what would you tell writers that maybe are looking at self-publishing a book here soon?
I would say it's a labor of love, right? Like if this is something truly you really love to do, and want to do, it is a lot of work, but it is so rewarding. I mean, I really just want to be proud of what I put out there, and I am so proud of what I put out there. Like I think, so that is, I hope will inspire some people to like to just do it because at the end of the day, like the reward is so fulfilling. Um, I also will say for a long time, and this was before I was like in the book space. Like I've always written for blogs and magazines. Like I was a journalism major in college a very long time ago, and I have always written and contributed to things. But this is like now the first time I'm in like the book space, and I think for a while, even in the beginning for me, I was like self-publishing sometimes was looked not down upon, but it was like it's because you can't make it with a traditional publisher, right? Like it's you're not you self-publish because a traditional publisher but doesn't want your book. And I really don't feel that way. I really feel like everybody just needs to figure out what is right for them. And I don't think traditional publishing was for me because I really wanted to have like creative control of like my cover. The final story. Like I wanted to, like when I looked at all of the pros and cons, I really wanted it to feel like mine. I also wanted to be on my own timeline. And if I miss my deadline and miss my, what I want to do, that's on me. So I just ultimately made the choice that self-publishing was a better fit for me and for this book. I'm not saying like the next one that comes out, like, hey, if there's a traditional publishing opportunity, I am totally opening to exploring that too. But I think I just want to get rid of any of those negative feelings around like self-publishing because I think it is something to be so proud of.
I agree, and I think that's so well said. There's so much to that. And like you said, your path can change based on the book. It doesn't have to be the same either way. But there are also so many people out there who have self-published many books very, very successfully and turned it into their entire career. And so it does. It just depends. It depends on your story, it depends on your timeline, it depends on what you want. And so there's so many different factors from that. I feel like we're on a way of breaking a lot of those initial feelings and like kind of the connotation that historically went with self-publishing. I think there's still a ways to go, but I do hope that people realize that there's so many different ways that you can go and still and ultimately be proud of what you put out there, be really fulfilled with what it is, and it doesn't have to, you can always change for the
Mhm.
next one. So, on that note, you said you have a lot of ideas. Have you already started working on anything? Do you think you'll do another holiday story? What are you thinking?
Yeah, so it's will definitely be a holiday story. I I in the summer months, like when like I said, like the final was done, and when I sent it to the interior designer to start working on and the cover designer, I like was like twiddling my thumbs of like I I what am I gonna do? And so I started like writing the next one, the next story. Um I'm about like three-ish chapters into it, like not far. This one was one I did not outline Christmas Switch. Like I was not a plotter. I for this one.
Pantsed
I
it.
just wrote and like ideas came and like went back and this next one I'm working on spans over like 60 years. Like it's like I think I'm starting in like 1969 and ends in like 2030. So I really needed to like outline all the major like things that are going to happen throughout this timeline. And there's a lot of research involved because I was born in 1982. So like some of the time frame I was not around for. So I am doing a lot of research around like what things look like so I can describe them like correctly and like so I will say this one I'm it's a lot of planning and research. And so I did a lot of that, like before I even like put pen to paper and started writing anything. And so now I'm like maybe three-ish chapters into like the writing part of it. And then I've put it down to really focus on Christmas Switch and the holiday. Like I have like 2 months of like just getting it out there, Christmas Switch out there as much as possible because nobody's buying it in January. So I'm like, I have like a 2 month period to like really like talk about it, share it, like find my audience. So I'm gonna pick it up back my next story back up in January. So it's just on a hold while I focus on Christmas Switch.
Of course, you have to keep us posted on that once you, because I'm very, very intrigued, very curious. But on that, you have multiple events coming up, yes? Like
I
a
do,
little book tour?
I do, I do. I am super excited to have like many bookstores who were just like welcoming me with open arms. I'm originally from Louisiana, and so the town I'm from is Slidell, and the bookstore there is is having me come back home, and doing like a hometown signing. So that's like the first weekend, like this weekend. It'll be this weekend coming up. So I'm doing a book signing there to kick things off with like my like family and friends. And then I'm going to Niceville, Florida, which is like a friend knows the owner, and she was like, she was just like telling her about my book, and she's like, will she come? Will she come? And I was like, yes, I'll come. So super
That's
excited to go
far
there.
from me. I don't think. Hold on. I'm like, I feel like that's not far. Oh, I lied. It's very far.
Okay. I was like, it's only like an hour from me, so I think it's further
I
from
was gonna
you.
say it's very far. What now? I'm like, okay, what city am I thinking about? Because I'm like, wow, you're coming all the way down here. That's so far. And
um,
okay, well,
but yeah,
disregard. I don't know what I'm
yeah.
talking about. I just got really
But
excited for a second because I was
yeah,
like, wait, is that near me? I can come.
yeah. I then I'm doing one in Pensacola, and this community has been so supportive and helpful, and like the place where I'm doing it, it's called Rusted Arrow, and she was like, I'll get like a coffee pop up, and people can like grab a cup of coffee and like come in and like talk to you about your book and like get their book signed and buy it for Christmas presents, and then they sell like gifts and things, so like just making it like a whole Christmas event. That's the weekend before Thanksgiving, so perfect timing. And then I'm doing one in Fairhope, Alabama, which is where the book is set. It's the setting of the book is in Fairhope, Alabama. So I'm going to their bookstore, which is adorable. It is like, it's got like a little bar in it. It's got a cafe. It is like it's like the best. It's the best. So I'm doing one there. And then I got a phone call this week about a book club in the area you picked it for their book in December, and they were like, will you come? And I was like, absolutely, I'm coming. So like making personal appearances at things, which is like, I mean, I couldn't have even dreamed this. It's so much fun.
Oh my
So
goodness,
I'm
that's gonna
sure there's
be.
more that's going to like follow my calendar and schedule, and I love it. I'm going to do it all.
Yeah, I was gonna say if you do make it down to the Tampa area or Orlando area, like let me know because I'll drive over.
Absolutely.
Um, no, that would be amazing. That sounds like so much fun. I wish I was a lot closer because I would just love to be a part of your celebration and just how festive it is. It sounds amazing. I hope you have the best time with all of that.
Thank you.
Um, for other listeners and readers that aren't in your area, where can they connect with you online?
Sure. So my website is kate-hendrickson.com. There's a kate-hendrickson.com, but she's like an artist. So if you get on an artist page, it's not me. But kate-hendrickson.com is my website, and it like links you to all my things, like the sites where you can order the book or where you can connect with me or my social media pages. So I would start there. But I'm also on Instagram. So KW Hendrickson on Instagram. I'll be honest, I'm on TikTok and I don't even know what the handle is because but I'm trying. I think you can find that on like my other sites. Pinterest, I'm a big Pinterest girl. And so I've Pinterested for years and years and years before any of this. Like I've got boards all over the place. And so then I started like putting my book on Pinterest and like hoping people pin it and share it and whatever. And I was like, that's been so fun too, because that's already a platform that I like love. And I think that concept was genius when it came out 10 plus years ago. But it is, so I like follow me on Pinterest. We can pin all kinds of things. It doesn't have to be Christmas Switch. We can pin and share all kinds of things and ideas. So that's another place you can find me. But I would start with kate-hendrickson.com, and it'll get you to all the places.
Absolutely. And I will link to that in the podcast notes too, so that everybody can easily click to it. Kate, this was so much fun. I know I've already said it, but just puts me right in the holiday spirit. I'm so excited for everyone to read Christmas Switch, available November 4th. And thank you for coming on Narratives and Nightcaps. This has been amazing.
Too. We got to find something else to talk about like another time because I want to come back.
Oh, of course. If you're welcome back anytime. Keep us posted on the book. You want to, like, we can definitely make that happen. We will. I mean, I love it when people want to come back too, so we can make that happen. And if I'm ever up in the Pensacola area, I need to let you know.
Yes, absolutely. Thanks so much, Brie.
Thank you. Cheers.
Cheers.
Thanks so much for listening. The Narratives and Nightcaps podcast is a production of The Craft Co., with intro music created by Remington Haynes.
Subscribe to the show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube. Follow at Narratives and Nightcaps on Instagram, or visit our website, narrativesandnightcaps.com.
Sign up for our newsletter to always know what we're reading next, which authors are joining us on the show, and for extra bookish and beverage info.
Connect with our additional co-hosts, Jordan and Emily, as well.
You can find me on Instagram at Cozy Reads and Sips.
And you can find me on Instagram at books.bottles.
Cheers!
Cheers!